Frank Pettit, far lane, 747 the dial on the Buick. Tower lane, 752 the dial in for Mr. Keelman. Keelman stage, Pettit bumps in, and we're ready to get back to racing. The 71 Skylark going to try and keep pace with the 70 Nova. Chevy against Buick. Chevy going to try and hold them off. Chevy's going to pick up the win. Frank Pettit with the breakout, 46 with a 9 on the 47 dial, as he just breaks out enough to send him packing here in round number 1. Next up, Tower Lane, Des Moines, Washington, where Bruce Adsero calls home. Bruce, Tower Lane dials a 690. Far lane, a 746 dial-in for Todd Hill in this 64 Comet out of Newburgh, Oregon. Harley Davidson taking on Merck. The guy in the Merc's trying to figure out why is that thing already in 6th gear and I haven't even shifted yet. Tower Lane 699 on the 690 gives the win to Bruce, as Todd Hill unable to run the number. Tower Lane picks up the win. Next up, Holly Carlin in the far lane, the Northwest Olds Recycling. Holly picking up the first round bye. Holly Carlin getting the big first round bye. 709 the dial in for Holly. 97 light Danny, as Danny watches on. Top end, Holly, 714 on a 709.
Might be better shooting from the backside of the by the burnout. I'm going to take this shot and see how it turns out.
Okay. All right, Super Pro action up next. Super Pro, where race anything with electronics you can find. First up, local racer. Far lane, the AF Bill Bonds car, Mr. the Ogre, Tony Henderson. Henderson, 521, the dialing on the shorty dragster. Kurt Schultz, Tower Lane. Schultz out of Saskatchewan. Gonna try and hold on Henderson. Henderson's away. Can he take? Nope. Well, yes, Henderson just gets around it by 23 ten-thousandths of a second. Tony, 21 light, but drives around the whole shot that Schultz had to pick up the win. Next up, far lane, Bill King in that little Ford Falcon. Tower Lane, Ken Goldade dials a 657 on the Mustang. 541 the dial in for Bill King. King, far lane, picks up the win light. Tower Lane breaks out. Ken had the whole shot. Takes the stripe, but breaks out doing it by 2,000. Bill King back for round number 2. Next up, it is Ford Chevy battle. The Monza, Tower Lane, 648 the dial in for Mr. Don Budd out of the Dalles. Can the 75 Monza hold off the 66 Ford Fairlane? Fairlane, 689 dial in for the Bud's Auto Wrecking Ford of Mr. Brian Overturf. Overturf playing in Super Gas this weekend, so hence the 690 dial. Tower Lane, Don Budd, big red light for Budd, and that's going to send him packing here in round 1 as Overturf with the 002 gets the round win. Next up, a lot of Buicks here running this weekend, more than you'd expect. Tower Lane. $88 Grand Am at a surprise Arizona making the big trick up here. Butch Warner dials a 529. Charles Lynn, far lane 570. .006 red light for Butch Warner. That's going to send him home. Charles moves through. The dragster 581 on a 570 with a nice 12 light. Combo, Super Street, and Junior Comp to the lanes, please. Combo, Super Street, and Junior Comp to the lane. Nikki Schultz, Tower Lane 534, the island for Nikki. Another Warman, Saskatchewan dragster. Ed Peters, far lane out of Camas, Washington. Peters dials a 499. Tower Lane a 534 for Nikki. Nikki will have the head start. Ed gets to play catch up. Nikki's away. Peters is away. Ed gonna try and track down the young lady. Can't get there. Well, he does, but he breaks out doing it. So about the same. Nikki Schultz back for round number 2. Next up, Larry Kelly, Tower Lane, in the 82 Capri, 644 Larry's dialing. Mr. Perfect, Nick Nicholson in the far lane. Vancouver, Washington, dials a 538. Can the 538 get around the 644? The Capri is gone. And Larry goes red. 008 red light for Mr. Kelly. Mr. Perfect dials the 38, runs a 39 with a no. Both of them running one off. Only difference, Kelly with that 8 thou red light. Next up, the Merritt Brothers Racing Chevy Vega. Julie Adams going to dial a 583 in the far lane. That beautiful little super gas Vega. Tower Lane, Michael Colvin. Colvin dials a 580. Good drag race. Colvin going to try and hold off Adams. It's going to be Adams picking up the win. Julie Adams 585 on a 583 dial. Adams back for the next round. Next up, far lane, 596, the dial in for Mr. Mike Nicholson, far lane. Mike rocking the backup motor. 594, the dial in for Dave Evelyn in the 88 Buick. Regal heading down track side by side. It's going to be the Regal coming back as Nicholson breaks out. Mike, 95 with a 2 on a 96 dial. Mike took the stripe, but it's Evelyn coming back. Let's go ahead and make first call to lanes for Super Comp. First call to lanes for Super Comp. As once again, Combo, Super Street, and Junior Comp should already be there. Tower Lane, the JPC Racing, Mopar of Jack Hewitt. Far lane, Jason Gibson, the 66 Mustang, 650 dial, Hewitt, 637. Hewitt with the bump out. Hewitt done here in round 1. Gibson, far lane, going to move on. Gibson, 651 on a 650 dial.